New shit.
Damn right. Welcome everyone to another episode of Clef Notes.
The season finale, if you will.
We got a lot of good shit coming up for you guys today. We got Saturation 3. We got Revival, new Eminem project. We got. You wanna?
You don't remember what else we're doing. We got Nerd.
we got Nerd.
We've got Nerd. We've got some takes on probably the new Jeezy and a little bit of the new Zaytoven, but I know not everybody listened to those. And yeah, you know, just the same normal stuff we do on this show, the shout outs and whatever else we've been listening to. So hey, thanks for sticking with us all season. We got this episode and then hopefully a hot takes coming up a little bit before it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're planning on doing with that.
And we also got a guest in the studio today.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you Connor Farrell.
Great to be here. Thanks, guys.
He's a little bit of a younger voice, just to try and get a little bit of a different perspective on things. Connor, just because we've been on the show a while longer than you, and I guess our three dedicated listeners have kind of picked up on our musical tastes. You want to say, I guess, who the three people you listen to most are?
Three I listen to most.
Yeah.
So
not necessarily favorites.
Not necessarily favorites. Probably Kanye, Kendrick, probably Uzi.
Okay, so the same general opinions plus Lil Uzi Vert. So that's
just a young twist on it.
yeah. There you go. Just a little spunk.
Yeah, sure.
Alrighty, you good to go, Andy?
Yeah, we're good to go.
So before we get going, just are we gonna splice in like our hot takes, or what are we gonna do with that?
I don't know.
Okay.
How do you want to do it?
I'd like to put that up beforehand.
All right, so hot take first, and then we dive into it.
Yeah.
All right. So first up, Saturation.
Saturation. Okay.
What do you think?
Wait, by hot takes, dude, I was talking about the thing we already recorded.
The thing we already.
Do you not remember?
Yeah.
that?
I haven't put that up yet.
Okay, so is
I
that
haven't
going to
put
go
that
up
up
as a
yet.
separate thing?
Yeah, we'll put that up as a separate thing. That was like our right after listening.
Okay, that's what I meant by hot takes, ladies and gents. We
That's-
recorded our initial rage and love thread, I guess, for
Love and Rage.
for what am I saying? Revival and Saturation 3. So yeah, that'll be up before this if you just kind of want the raw takeaway from right away. But this is the real deal. This is the dissection. So yeah, we'll start with Saturation 3. We'll do a little reverse because last time we gushed about this after just ripping Eminem a new one. But now that we've had to sit with it for a couple of days, we can have a more thorough discussion about it. So starting up, I guess, yeah, we'll just go around. I think the best way to assess this project is to compare it to the other two in the trilogy. So, Andy, I know you hate comparing them against one another, but where do you think this stacks up with the other two?
Well, I like Saturation 1 because it was my first like real taste into what Brockhampton had to offer. I mean, I had listened to All American Trash before, but
You
not
hadn't
really.
listened to that until you heard the singles, though, for
Yeah,
Saturation,
exactly.
right?
So it was like the first sort of taster I got of what Brockhampton had, and I really love that project, and I still don't want to badmouth that project because I think that's the project that really like broke us into Brockhampton, that started it all off, and if that project hadn't been as good as it was, we wouldn't be paying any attention. So it's definitely one of the best projects of the year. Saturation 2, I felt like was a lot of people say it was their strongest. I didn't really think it was as good as Saturation 1 when it came out. Going back listening to a few of the singles on Saturation 2, I definitely thought it had it had its singles, it had its good stuff, but I wasn't fully in love with the project as a whole. But then this past weekend, Saturation 3 came out, and I think that wrapped it all together. And I think it's really their best effort at this point. It's their best thing that they've put out. The singles, the one or two singles that came out prior to the release of this was definitely brought up my hype again, and I was ready to go into a full Brockhampton album once again. So
you're putting.
I think it's got to be 2 at the bottom, 1 in the middle, 3 at top.
All right, so you have the same pick as me. I think I'm 312 Chicago area code for the projects because look at that. Sorry, we got a little studio audience today. There was some reactions. I got to go with 312 because not my first endeavor into Brockhampton. I got into them with All American Trash and a lot of what Kevin Abstract have been doing by himself. I think it still stands as a very solid effort on its own. 2, I wasn't really enthralled by anything outside the singles and Queer and the Bareface track, and I guess a couple of the ones at the end. All in all, it's a very solid project. It's probably going to be the one I go back to the least, though, because it's definitely their bars-heavy project, and that's never really been what I've liked them for. I always kind of liked them just for their energy, their production, and their hooks. And I think 3 really just excels on all fronts of what 1 was trying to do. They've got much more full production. I think their best song that they've ever done is Bleach, which just is in the middle of the project and just kind of bridges the whole thing together. And everybody seems to be playing off each other better than they ever have. Like, the chemistry on 1, I'm not going to say it was non-existent, but everybody seemed like very isolated. Like, they were all talking about completely different things. They wouldn't bounce off of each other. And, you'd see that chemistry in the music videos. It wouldn't really show up a lot on tracks. And 2, it was a little bit better, but still kind of the same issues with that. And you saw a little bit more of Joba, who I think has really blossomed into one of the group's bigger, more present members. And 3 really just brought it all together, like you were saying, with Joba playing his biggest part yet, with Kevin sticking more to hook duty but still busting out some of his better verses, and them doing shorter, more like Tribe Called Quest style like vocals, where they'll do just a couple of lines and then they'll bounce back to somebody, which is what I think this group is probably going to be doing more of going forward. Like, less of just these full verses, like doing posse cuts on a track, more just like raw energy, playing like 2 lines off one of another, kind of stringing together verses together rather than doing them separately. That and just, I think there's finally some songs other than like the 1 or 2 singles that from the other projects that you could actually play in like a group setting, and people would just kind of vibe to it without having to get that far into the group and knowing who's who and whatnot. So I think it's some really cool stuff. All right, and then we got our final take. We got Connor over there. Connor, let's start with your ranking.
Yeah, so when I first heard Saturation 1, I was pretty impressed with it. I liked it was a lot different than what I usually listen to. So I really enjoyed that project. A lot of new type sounds, very unique.
And you got into that, 2 was already out, right?
Yeah,
so you have to listen to those 2 back to back.
Yeah, so I listened to 1 first, and then I listened to 2. And like compared to 1, I didn't actually care for 2 as much, but then it's since grown on me to the point where I feel like those 2 are pretty even. I might still put 1 ahead of 2, just slightly. As for 3, coming into it, I was really excited because I loved Boogie. I thought that was a banger, possibly my favorite song they've made. Then I saw, what's that, the video they dropped?
Billy Starr.
Billy Starr, yeah. I liked some of the songs on there, too. I think Bleach was on there.
Yeah.
Bleach is a good one. I like that one. But then overall, I honestly felt like 3 was probably my least favorite. I just feel like there's less standouts for me. I feel like 2 has like the bangers. 1 is like the raw energy and everything. I feel like 3, they're just kind of repeating themselves a little bit. I still enjoy it a lot, but it just, that would probably be my least favorite. I feel like, the chemistry is probably stronger, but there's less, I feel like it's a little less memorable, a little less fresh, in my opinion.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, so that's just how I see it.
Oh, yeah, I feel that.
I think here's the thing with the release, with the way they did these releases this year. Whenever you release music this close in succession with one another, you're gonna run the risk of your stuff sounding the same and sounding
Yeah,
very
it's true. I get
and
that.
sounding very bland once you get to the end.
Oversaturating your sound, if you will.
Yeah, and so I can kind of hear what you're saying
Yeah.
with the fact that I've listened to them so much this year, and they've put out so much music. How could I, how can they really top what they've done
Right.
before? How
Right.
can they really bringing something fresh and new? This is why I feel like sometimes it's better to break your albums apart, probably by year or so.
Yeah, that might be true. I think. Yeah, a lot of it might just
So-
be I like Saturation 1 maybe the most just because it was all fresh and new, and there's like a new perspective kind of, and then
Mhm.
3 is just kind
Yeah.
of heard it.
So I think what I'm getting at here is like, if I tried to listen to this album with as fresh of a mind as I could. I had taken like an entire month off of listening to any Brockhampton song at all, and when I came back to this, I was like, man, this is good stuff or whatever, just because I had taken that break from listening to their music for a while. So, I mean, I don't really want them to keep doing this. Like, if they were to like come out tomorrow and be like, oh, we're just kidding, Saturation 4 coming in January.
They already announced a new
Yeah,
album.
I was
Team
gonna,
Effort.
That's
Yeah.
kind of where I wanted to spin the discussion. But before we move on to that, kind of get your opinion on this. Just kind of stick with Saturation 3 still.
Yeah.
So like, before we go on to I guess kind of their take on how they've been doing distributing and stuff like that, what would you say is the strongest song on the project, Andy? I guess like highest highs, lowest lows.
I think, the thing with listening to their music is like every time I listen to the album again, I come up with a new favorite song. So, but I think the strongest one that I can say right now is probably Bleach, just because it's got such a catchy little vocal thing they got going on, and like all the verses are great. But I can see Zipper being one of my favorites too, and Stupid being one of my favorites, and among others. I think I listened to Alaska today again, and I thought that one's pretty good too.
Is there anything on there you don't like?
There are a couple. I mean, whenever it gets like a little too ballady, I kind of start to lose it.
I think you're using the wrong word. I don't think you're looking for like poppy, right?
Poppy, yeah.
Because
same-
I
same
can
thing.
already tell you what your probably least favorite song is. I bet Hottie is your least favorite song on there.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Even
I'm
though-
pretty sure
I
that's
kind
Which-
of liked Hottie.
That's top 3 for me. I think
Yeah.
it's Bleach, Hottie, and I guess Team or Sister Nation. Just
really
because
Team. That's interesting.
I always liked the Bareface song, but it was getting
Uh-huh.
kind of stale. And
So that you liked how they freshened it up at the end.
yeah, the breakdown was cool.
I
even though-
liked too how they ended that song with the same way Saturation 1 started.
I guess I hate that I feel like I knew that was gonna happen. Like I think it's a cool thing. I'm happy they did it, but like
Uh-huh.
I feel like that's like such a cliche thing to do, even though not that many people do it. So I don't know. I mean, props to them, but I think it's just like I know I read like a comment somewhere that'd be like, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if they did this?" And then they did it, and I'm like, that's a little cheesy.
Yeah, so
But-
if I had to pick a top 3, I guess, probably go Boogie. I really enjoy that song. It's
Mhm.
quite the banger.
Bangerific.
Yeah, Bleach, good song. I like. It's kind of stuck in my head right now, actually.
Yeah.
And probably third, I would either go Rental or Sister Nation.
Oh, I forgot about Rental.
Rental, I like the video for that.
Yeah, because I bet you don't like Rental that much either, right? Like, isn't
I
that
gotta
probably
I seriously have to listen again.
that's the one with
'Cause,
the dollar bill on my head?
Is that in the video?
Yeah, that was one of the videos.
Oh.
It wasn't in the
They
long
released
video.
it the day it came out.
Yeah,
I think.
they released.
Yeah,
a video
I
for it.
didn't see the video for that.
Okay,
I haven't seen that yet.
but I think that's more just like we want different things out of the group. Like
yeah,
I'm like, if they're gonna go boy band, like let's make poppier stuff. I think that's the way they're gonna get it.
I
And
think they should mix it up more. They have some good bangers. They have some good poppy 90s boy band stuff. I just don't want them to like go in completely one direction.
right. I don't want them to go One Direction.
Best boy band since One Direction.
Yeah, exactly. But pretty much the closer they get to Kevin Abstract's solo music, the happier I am. And I think with you, the farther away they get from that, the happier you are.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I think like where their talents truly lie is in like their ability to just spit a damn fire ass
I do think Kevin
some,
Abstract
like, slapping beats.
Yeah, I do think Kevin Abstract gets a little too much credit for the whole Brockhampton. I'm more of an Amir guy. I like Matt Champion, guys like that.
Yeah,
in the group.
Definitely.
I think he's just kind of the one who brings it together.
Right, he's like the creative force, kind of. He's kind of like a Puff Daddy almost.
In
a way.
I feel like that's a little bit too
Except
snidey.
he does way more than Puff Daddy ever did.
Well, he's the hook man. He has some of the more memorable verses, and he's kind of the one who gets the song structure going. And just, I don't know. I think between him, Joba, and Matt Champion, and really all of them but Amir for me. I think Amir's the only one who's
Amir's my favorite, actually.
He's the only one who's been dropping the ball for me on
Really?
this most recent one. I don't know. Just, and I like, he was one of my favorites on the early ones, but like now, I don't know. I think the shtick's gotten old. And I hope that he...
I do think the other ones started to stand out a little more for me on this one. I think Amir might have been stronger on the first two than this one. I get what you're saying there.
Even though I will say one of the coolest moments on the album on Team is like when they have one of those more back and forthy things going. Like Kevin starts his verse and then he comes in and he's like, "Give me that mic," and then just like does like a little 4-line thing and then it goes back to Kevin and then back to him. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I definitely, one complaint I do have about Boogie is I think he could have settled. He had like 2 lines or something.
Yeah, but that's kind of the point. Like I think they wanted that to just be the dance track.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked Boogie when it came out, but like upon first listen, I think it didn't do as much for me as like a lot of the other stuff, because I felt like it was a little too just so much going on. Like with the beat and everything.
You think it was overproduced?
I felt it was a little overproduced.
I concur, but I think that was the intention.
That sax.
But but upon listening to it like a couple more times, it definitely grew on me. But upon first listen, it was just kind of a little too much.
That's another one where I feel like the video really just makes it too. Like,
oh yeah, I do enjoy the video.
When you see Joba just like spazzing out in
a
freezer.
Yeah, that makes the verse definitely.
Spazzing out in a freezer. Like I feel like that really just puts it all together. But yeah, all in all, very pleased. Before we move on, I kind of want to go back to what we were talking about earlier, like I guess what their next move is. So they have already announced their next album, Team Effort for 2018. I wouldn't be surprised if the name changes because it's kind of a dumb name. And I feel like it's not going to be as soon as everybody thinks it's going to be. I think they're going to get a long tour in. In fact, they already announced the tour. So it's going to be a bit. But when would be the earliest you want to see this next project, guys?
End of the year.
Like next December?
Like next November, October,
really?
In that range. I want them to sit back for a while, or at least like maybe drop a single in like May.
Try to get the charts up a little bit, like radio charts. Yeah.
I was gonna say singles over the summer, project in October.
Yeah.
If they're gonna keep operating at the pace that they are.
Maybe album by June. You don't want I get what you're saying, Andy. They've been releasing it really quickly, and I feel like that's in some ways people are gonna get kind of tired of it at some point. But at the same time, you don't want to be like Travis Scott, where you're just like teasing an album like every 15 minutes, and then nothing's ever coming out. You know, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think this dropping an album every time, every like 2 or 3 months, is just gonna get so.
It's too much, yeah.
It's just
eventually
people
are
old.
It's gonna be hard for people to get into it too.
Yeah.
No one wants to listen to
they're gonna end
5
up
albums,
like Young Thugging themselves.
Exactly, yeah. Where he has like 20 mixtapes. You know.
And I think they know that. I think that's why they've concluded the trilogy.
Yeah.
Like, it very much does feel like the end of an era. I think they're ready not to rebrand.
But, you know, it might not have been a bad decision to do it this way for Saturation, just so they're fresh in people's minds.
No, it's not. I mean, it's fine.
Like, sometimes, when you have a hot young artist, like, look at Fetty Wap. Like, he didn't really drop anything after his album, and now, where is he now, you know?
Yeah, well, he did drop a mixtape, like, 6 months after Fetty Wap,
Oh.
the album, but it wasn't promoted. I think that's more of a distribution
Right.
problem. But
Makes sense.
in this instance, they know. I think they know what they're doing. I think they know that there needs to be a break to try and think of a new idea, a new sound, and they'll make their money off touring.
Yeah.
It's time to cash in on this.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Sure.
Okay, so I think that's a pretty adequate review on Saturation.
Yeah. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I watched the documentary today.
Yeah, if you have a spare 2.5 hours during finals week, like
Yeah.
Andy does, feel free.
Yep. It was a good doc. It was a good doc.
If
You
you're
got to
bored,
see the making of all of the bangers.
Wasn't it like recorded all in one room or something? I think I saw like a tweet or something.
a lot of it was made in just one room.
It was
interesting.
all made in like the house pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
That made
Yeah.
me. Like Andy was saying, it made him want to go down to the studio and just start messing around with the boards. And I'm like, really, this is just gonna make me miss living here because it was just like a ton of dudes just messing around in the house, and I'm like, that's what we got going, And I feel
Inspiring the young artists.
like Connor looked forward to living here because I mean, it reminded me a lot of that. Just
Yeah.
a lot of shenanigans.
Yeah, we need to get some guys on the boards next year.
Yeah, man. Hey, maybe next semester. Alrighty. Moving right along here. We're going to turn on our angry mode. And I think everybody here feels the same way about the
Yeah.
Revival project. But hey,
time
let's
to open it
let's
up.
start with a clean slate, huh? So, Andy, what did you think of Eminem's Revival? Also, going into the project, what were your expectations?
Well, I was ready to hear if there was a little something else, little spark there, still left in the.
Did you go in thinking it
Left
was
an
going to
old
be
Slim
dog?
Shady.
Did you go into it thinking it was going to be horse shit, or were you ready to?
Reveal your opinion. So
There's going to be
promptly.
another one up before this that reveals how we feel. So, I mean,
Yeah, I think the album was trash.
no, but going into it, did you think it was going to be trash?
I didn't. How would you know?
Well, you
With
saw
Eminem,
you
you
saw
don't
the
really
track.
know.
I mean, the
you
track
saw the
list.
track list. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. After I saw that he featured a single rapper and then not another one, and there are still like 5 features from pop artists, like most of them dead memes and like
dead memes. What are you talking
like
about?
Pink is a dead meme.
How is
She had a successful album.
She had one of the best-selling albums this year. She is far from a dead meme.
I mean, I guess it's all 40-year-old ladies
Now,
buying it. But,
Alicia
you know.
Keys, dead meme.
Dead
Yeah, she
meme.
hasn't really done anything.
she's-
Skylar Grey, the deadest of memes.
Yeah, they're
That's
all dead
early
memes.
2010 right
There
there.
you go.
But this is what I'm talking about. Is like he brought on a whole bunch of artists that are not in their prime, 1, and 2, on like, and just made weird ass songs, man. Just made weird whack songs.
That's where I was going to take this. So I feel like it's not necessarily the choice of features like I thought it was going to be, because I think for the most part they all kind of just did their job. Like
yeah.
it's a Skylar Grey feature. It's not a bad feature. Ed Sheeran, it's one of the better Ed Sheeran verses that I've heard.
Yeah.
Like his vocals sound really good on that track. It's just Eminem doing weird nonsense stuff and
Yeah.
like trying out the triplet
Someone's-
flow and it not really working for him. Or
Yeah,
like
someone's got to put Rick Rubin in a retirement home or something.
he ruined
like,
Jesus and now he ruined this.
Hey,
I
Jesus
don't
was
think-
not
I
ruined.
don't think
It wasn't-
Jesus was ruined.
I-
but okay.
No.
Well,
No.
I don't think I like Jesus too. I just think that
Sounding like an old head right now.
I think it could have been something. I think it could have been something better. Defending Rick Rubin's an old head thing to do.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, no, shut up over there.
Someone's gonna put him in a retirement
No, like
home.
I feel like what he does, which is strip projects down and just kind of reveal their lesser parts, is not something I want to be seeing on the production end of things.
So did he engineer this album?
he executive produced it and produced a
Okay.
lot of the tracks on his own.
Okay.
Yeah, but like just Eminem's cadence, I guess, is the biggest problem, and I don't like everyone's always like, hey, like let him do his own hooks again because everybody loves stuff like Without Me or Lose Yourself.
That was also back in the early 2000s.
Right, and
when
now
when he was still on drugs. And
now he
still,
does, like-
still good.
he does like these weird moans and stuff, you know, like
Yeah.
we were talking, we really
Raps over dad rock.
we liked the song Framed until
Which one's that one?
until he gets to like it's the one that sounds like it's off Relapse. And then it gets to about a minute in, and he starts going, "Nah," and like, we're like, what the hell is going on here? Like, this is not what like an Eminem song should sound like. This is just
I love you.
No, we're not gonna.
That's so corny. Oh my god.
That's
That's just like a cheap like YouTube knockoff.
right.
It sounds
The
like.
the two biggest things that don't work is Eminem's cadence, and then like certain production choices. So like on Marshall Mathers LP2, I actually kind of liked some of the songs that had like the rock samples because
it had its moments,
well,
definitely.
yeah, well, like nobody else can really do that kind of production because it's like a Beastie Boys thing to do. But back then they didn't like clear samples; you could just kind of do whatever you wanted. Like an album like Paul's Boutique will never be made again because you can't sample the Beatles. Like, but like here, Eminem is one of the only people who has enough money and is still in hip hop to sample whoever the hell he pleases. So he samples "I Love Rock and Roll" and
It just sounds terrible.
and "Zombie" by Cranberries because
it just sounds
you know,
god awful.
Dean just stuck his tongue out. Not a fan of that sample choice. Well, he likes the song, but he doesn't like when people tarnish the song. But yeah, just like, what the hey, you know? Like, if you want to do your impression of the hook on "Remind Me" again, Andy, he does "I Love Rock and Roll" for the hook, but then he changes it to
Girls.
Yeah. he just like lets the who's that song originally by? Joan Jett.
Yeah,
right?
it's by Joan
Jett. And it has Joan Jett going, "I love," and then he like splices himself in saying, "You,"
and then she says, she goes back in and like it's the part where she's like, "And me," like he says, "and you love me," like it's fucking terrible.
So terrible.
It sounds like
Like,
a
it
bad
worked-
SNL skit or something.
It worked on
Seriously.
Marshall Mathers LP too because they would just kind of
You
like
know, the more I think about it, the more disrespectful it is that he called the Marshall Mathers LP2 after the Marshall Mathers LP1.
right. Okay, but that's
He shouldn't have
that's
done
beyond
that.
the point.
I know.
But
I just throw
like
it
the
in.
reason those hooks worked a little bit better is because he wasn't usually singing over it. It was more like they were just scratching with the
Yeah.
original sample, and like people like that song. It makes for a good hook. The ones where he sung over it didn't go over as well. Like I think he might do it on "So Far," which is still a good song, but yeah. Here, when he sings over it, it's just like, well, why would you even get the sample if you're just going to tarnish the sample? Like, you're paying good money for it, you know? You might as well
Yeah.
ride it out.
Seriously.
That, and I've never been a huge fan of just, like, the 40 to 50-year-old crowd doing, like, really immature raps, I guess. Like, you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of
I
cringy when
see that.
people, like, our age would say some of the stuff that he says on these tracks. But, you know, knowing that it's coming from, like, a father who's now an empty nester just makes it like all the more weird, you know.
With a hot daughter too.
All right, Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in case Haley's listening, I'm happy you got that out there.
I'm single.
I'm single.
Yeah, I mean, I mean,
Thirsty.
it's just when he like tries to knock off the triplet flow and just like it's like Dad does trap and shit like that, and like I feel like Fresher was his attempt at like trying to find like
How do you do, fellow kids?
yeah how do you do, fellow kids? I know Fresher, like
Like I didn't even know who that was. Apparently he cut a 2 Chainz verse.
No,
too.
and it was the same.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
the
yeah.
same song.
It's the same song, yeah.
What was his plan? Just we're gonna have one rap song, like.
yeah, it was just kind of wild. It was just kind of wacky. Dad doing rap. And
Well, and like when I was talking about this on a run the other day, I'm like, the whole thing is dad rap. It's a genre now. It's a thing. You gotta,
Except this is like 12-year-old kids listening to it, though. I feel like
well, yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that.
maybe
'Cause-
it was. See, I feel like early high school. Like when I used to listen to Eminem, it was like 8th grade, freshman in high school, middle school stuff. I don't know if that's. I don't know what the kids are listening
Well,
to. These
they're
days.
listening to Lil Pump, and that's what makes me think that they're
Maybe,
not gonna
yeah.
they're not gonna dig it as much because I don't think
That could be.
I don't think that's what popular music is anymore. Like, yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be a crowd that's really into this. But I don't know. Like, I feel like it's not going to hit the same way it did. Like, I bet
yeah,
it
I
still
feel
does
that.
crazy numbers the first week because it's
It-
been 4 years
Do you
since
think
he
it'll?
dropped an
Do
album.
you think it'll outsell Damn the first week?
No.
You don't think so?
Oh, well, do you mean Damn's first week?
His first week, yeah.
It might do that. But
I think it might
I don't-
outsell. It
I don't-
depends on the streams, I think.
I don't think it'll outsell Damn when all is said and done.
Oh
But I
no,
think
no, it won't.
It'll
but maybe
probably
the
have
first
a
week.
better first week.
Yeah. which would be sad, but
But here's the thing: it's not like it had like a hot single or anything. Like "Walk on Water" didn't even break the top 10,
yeah.
and I don't think it will. Like I was getting
No,
in a
it's
fight.
not. It's not. I mean, that's one of the better songs in the album, just because it's like personal and stuff. But it's not a great song. It's not a radio. Like I actually, when I was home for Thanksgiving, I heard it on the radio and was like really surprised. Like
Just because it's not a jam. It's not like
no,
it's not
it's just a.
it's not a single. It's weird.
Yeah.
And-
It was more just hype, I think, with the Beyonce feature.
Right.
Try to get the 16-year-old girls on your side.
It's a lot more than 16-year-old girls who like Beyonce,
Yeah.
man. But I was getting in a fight with Q because Quinn's like, well, he'll definitely have things that chart from this, and I'm like, I don't think he's gonna have a number one from this. I don't know what would go number one.
He'll have like those songs that like chart for like the first week or whatever.
Yeah,
just
because-
based off streams or whatever.
Yeah, because the way they do
It's-
things now, like you know,
Yeah.
you're gonna see half the album on the top 40, but
Right, like
I
pull a
don't-
Drake where you just have 20 songs on there.
right, I don't think you're gonna see anything break top 10 though.
No,
just because
I
there's not
don't think so either.
there's not a single in here. It's
Maybe
weird.
the Ed Sheeran
Yeah.
one, just because it's Ed Sheeran.
That's the only one that I think would kind of work because it's sort of ballady.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I kind of wish he'd just wash his hands of this and disappear again until he decides.
I
what
think
way
he
he
should
wants
just
to take it.
honestly.
should
I think he should just
retire.
retire. I agree. He's never gonna. What made early Eminem so good is like the fact that he could just say whatever he wanted in that great flow he used to have, and now it's just he's just way too choppy. He has nothing really to say anymore. You know, he's 45 years old. You know, what's he gonna say that he hasn't said before?
Yeah.
And
Well-
he just relies on the same pop hooks. He's been making the same song since 2010.
Maybe you're right. I just don't. I don't want it to be the end like that. I'm not even a huge Eminem fan, but like
Right.
that'd be a shitty way to go out. Like,
I
just
mean-
bomb your last album. and
I
you're-
feel like he almost. If you listen to the end of the
He's
album,
he
it almost
has
seems
not
like
had a decent like
no
album.
No,
since
you're totally right.
LP2.
Well, and also like, well, think about the last Eminem feature you liked. What was like? I'm trying to think.
the
Like
Big Sean one.
it's
that one sucked.
Yeah, I know that was
I don't
bad.
even
I was
know.
the
The
joking.
Medicine Man one on Compton was okay, but like even then, I feel like people were just giving
He's
it a
just-
pass
he's
because
just
it was like the first
choppy.
okay
Yeah.
one in a long time.
No, the only people that are still listening to Eminem are his diehard fans that will jerk him off no matter what he does.
I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just
Maybe-
there's
maybe-
nothing to him.
Maybe he
anymore.
should just disappear. But
I think so too.
I
I think that's what he's trying to get at the end. The last two tracks are actually not terrible. Those were two of the better tracks in the album because I felt like they were personal. He was kind of talking about his life, kind of the struggles he's had, and it kind of implied that he was hanging it up soon. So
I guess I want 444, and you're not going to get it out of him, I guess.
No.
But I think
Old
it'd be
head.
cool. I think it'd be cool. Stop calling me an old head. That's not. That's just a
Just
realist.
messing.
That's a realistic thing to want. I mean, like, if anybody could do it, it'd be him, right? Like, he's got the resources. He's got
he
an
can't. He's forgotten how to rap. That's the problem.
indispensable amount of time. Like, he could do.
He's never gonna. He's
don't-
never. I'm sorry for nerd, but he's never gonna be the way
Yeah,
he was.
I
He
d-
can't rap
No,
anymore.
I don't think he's going to be the way he was, but I think he can at least be relapse. Which the only reason people had a problem with that is because he sounded weird. Like,
I much preferred recovery to relapse.
you got to go back to relapse, then, man.
I mean, relapse had 0 Lil Wayne features. I'm just saying.
he's had his time. He's done his due. Now
Yeah.
it's time to just go away before he does any more damage.
Yeah.
Because
He's damaging the charts, if anything. you
yeah,
know?
because like I mean everything about this album, down to like the freaking album cover is cringy.
Can we talk about how corny that one Alicia Keys song was? That was like something you'd hear on a Walmart commercial.
Actually, that's perfect.
Like it sounded like a Walmart commercial, like one of those commercials where they're like, "We have American jobs" or something, and it's like that
Yeah.
song. That's what I pictured it.
Yeah, I didn't even download this thing. don't
I
know.
might delete. I need to delete it soon. Taking up too much space.
But yeah, I think I've ripped in. Oh my god.
So you
Just
think there's
the
absolute-
X Ambassadors feature like?
I was
oh.
really excited about
See,
that.
I don't know.
Do you think there's any chance that he comes back with something like okay or no?
And the answer is
No.
no. No, he can't rap anymore. That's the problem. If he could- if he-
he's had it's like 3 strikes, you're out.
I guess
Right,
this
well,
would be
here's the
I guess
thing.
this would be the third strike, huh?
Yeah, this is his 3rd strike.
Here's the thing: is like, if he could rap decent, despite the poor production,
Well, there's good stuff on
there is. but
MMLP2.
It's just
like
kind of.
half that album's very.
I'm just saying
listenable.
though, nowadays, he can't rap anymore, and that's the problem. Like the songs, the production he's picking, they're not they're not radio friendly songs. They're not
Yeah.
something the kids are going to be listening to. So to me, he needs to learn how to rap again, and he's not going to.
I guess I just keep thinking back to Love Game, and I'm like, now that was 4 years ago, but I'm like, he was pretty good on that song, and I don't know if it was Kendrick who got him to spit like that, but like that was a very
You
tight
know, but
song.
people were like disappointed with that though. They were hoping for something
I don't know.
crazier.
Well, they wanted some hard stuff, and I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well,
All right.
that was depressing. So
Sad.
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 All right. So do you want to go into nerd a little bit?
Alrighty.
Talk about nerd.
So before we get going with nerd, have you guys listened to a nerd album other than this one?
No.
Alrighty. So
I've listened to like
I-
select singles.
I looked at their discography. They're
Gotcha.
more of an early 2000s type.
yeah, for anybody who doesn't know who Nerd is, what Nerd was, you making a face? What are you doing over there, pal? Sorry. Nerd is the Neptunes production duo plus another guy who handles more live instrumentation. And before we really go any further, I just want it to be known that this is not your normal Nerd album. This is basically Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo of the Neptunes make an album under the Nerd moniker, because the Neptunes, the guys who I'm talking about here, who make up 2/3 of Nerd, they're the ones who produced, Drop It Like It's Hot, Milkshake, a lot of songs from clips like Grindin', Mr. Me Too,
some early Jay-Z stuff too.
some early Jay-Z stuff, it's Britney Spears, it's some stuff for
Justin
JT.
Timberlake. Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of people like to call them legendary producers. Pharrell Williams on his own is pretty great too as a producer, and he's become much more of a solo act in recent years. And I can see how you could listen to this and just think it's a Pharrell solo album with a lot of features on it, because that's kind of what it sounds like.
It is.
Like
yeah.
if you listen
Yeah.
to 2014's Girl, this is going to sound a lot more like that than
But less
anything else.
poppy.
Less poppy, more experimental with the beats, but
Mhm.
at the end of the day, more like that than anything else in his discography, because their earlier stuff, like Nerd the Group, sounds like a rock band. There's a hip-hop version of their first album and an alt version, and then which is pretty cool in itself. But
Interesting. Yeah.
uh,
Check that out.
yeah, no, it's neat. Definitely worth a listen. But we're here to talk about No One Ever Really Dies, which I got a problem with that title to begin with. Why would you not just make it Nobody if you're going to do the retroactive, what am I saying?
Yeah, I was actually wondering that too, honestly.
Yeah, just if you're gonna go back and you're gonna create a new abbreviation.
The cover also kind of grosses me out too, I'd say.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the LMFAO album cover for like
Oh, that's a classic.
Girls
album
Gone
cover.
Bad or something like that.
Oh,
Or- no. Wait, that's
sorry
not
for Party
LMFAO.
Rocking.
Yeah, where it's the chick like pulling her lip down and
No,
like,
that's different.
What am
No,
I
that's Cobra Starship.
that's Cobra
you're
Starship. I
thinking.
couldn't think of what it was.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know it's from that era.
I'll
though.
make them good girls go bad.
Yeah, and it's like a girl pulling her lip down, and like you can see
Yeah.
like her G string, and I'm like, this is disgusting.
Hey,
But
never
like,
forget the
like it's
LMFAO
so
one. That one's a
trashy, it's not
classic.
even
Yeah.
hot anymore. Which, by the way, why are you trying to turn people on with like a thumbnail? Stupid.
Yeah.
It's not YouTube, okay? Like it's on a CD. But anywho,
This reminds me of like middle school where kids would just mess around with those gum wrappers or whatever, you know?
yeah.
It just grosses me
And
out.
they're like making tech decks and
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
out of
those-
it. But anywho, so when Lemon dropped as the first single for this thing, it kind of came out of left field, even though it had been recorded in 2015. It was really hot. I think it's still one of the best singles
Lemon
this
was
year.
Crazy.
Still think it's one of the strong points on this project. Not necessarily because of Pharrell's contribution outside of production. I think the beat's hot, but I think Rihanna's really the reason that track works as well as it does. Like the non-Rihanna version's just okay.
She's definitely the more memorable part of that song, I would
Right,
say.
and I think that's why people keep going back to it, because they want to hear Riri
Yeah.
rap.
Like, I'm not super crazy about that song, but yeah, Rihanna, it's kind of interesting with her in it.
Now, I wasn't sure how the rest of it would sound, because that song doesn't sound like really... It sounds more like Neptune's than Nerd, and that's why I feel like this is a Neptune's project and not really a Nerd project. Its second single, 1000, is probably one of my more favorite songs on this thing, just because I like when they use I like when people use a feature in a way you wouldn't normally expect it. And they just kind of use feature a lot like how Drum is used on Andromeda on the Gorillaz effort earlier this year, where like he's just kind of in the background, Like, he's part of the beat almost, which is kind of a running theme for this
It's kind
project.
of a letdown though, almost when you. I mean, I enjoyed that portion of it, but it's almost like a letdown. You're looking like, ooh, a future feature, and then he's just kind of in the
See, I
background.
wasn't excited to see Future feature.
I
wanted-
wasn't necessarily. I'm not a huge Future guy either, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying if you were like a Future fan, it would be disappointing.
I guess. Just, it was cool to see them do something different with that. And then, the rest of the track list, it's pretty all-star. You got MIA, who's all but retired. You've got 2 Kendrick verses. You got a 3 Stacks verse. There's an Ed
That
Sheeran song at the end.
The 3 Stacks verse, I was rather disappointed with.
Me too, because I
Because-
thought it was going to be the whole song.
Yeah, because instead, like the rest of the song
was
is
like
just
the
kind
last,
of
like,
like a
30
bass line,
seconds
and
too,
then
yeah.
when Andre finally comes in, it starts with a minute long just unintelligible noises, and then finally it's a verse, but it's 30 seconds long
It's really short.
at the end, and I'm just like, okay, this was
Which is very strange, because usually when he shows up, they give him as much time as he wants. And here, it almost sounds like there was more to it that they cut out.
yeah.
Because, he's a unicorn. He only comes around once in a blue
Yeah.
moon. and
When's
just-
that album coming out? They the bit has been rumored for the last 5 years.
Just
Does
assume-
that even exist?
Assume never.
Yeah, kind of like the old J. Cole Kendrick thing or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just assume that it's never going to come
Yeah.
out, which is a shame. He's my favorite rapper, and I feel like
Interesting.
he's the GOAT, man. He's the best.
I thought you would have said Kanye.
Ye's the GOAT. He ain't the GOAT rapper, though.
So more of just like an artistry thing. I get that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anywho, though, I like that track to an extent. I feel like it is one of the weaker points, though.
Yeah.
And that is kind of my biggest problem with this project, just their use of negative space. I feel like they felt like they were... I feel like Pharrell was like, this works better than it does, and he was expecting his audience to kind of fill in the holes, but I don't think
Well,
it really
There's a
works
lot
that
of
well.
just empty space, though. I get what you're saying.
Right.
It was just weird because when Lemon came out, that song was just all over the place, just bouncing off the walls and shit like that.
Bouncing around, bouncing
And then
Bouncing.
I start listening to the stuff that comes out on here, and albeit they have some very experimental type beats and shit like that, but it's just kind of bland. I think it's just a little too
It's-
bland
yeah.
for my taste.
This is getting a lot of hype though, which is kind of surprising me because I didn't necessarily. It was decent, but it wasn't my favorite either.
I'm happy it's doing as well as it is, because I think that goes to show that there's room to do different stuff, in the mainstream. I think every now and again, people need a
One-
reminder that you can do stuff that isn't just trap.
One thing that kind of bothered me throughout this album is, how I made that joke earlier, how do you do you fellow kids or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that was kind of like this throughout.
Really?
Yeah, well, I just feel like the whole theme's like youth revolution almost. And I just feel like Pharrell's 45. Why is he?
Yeah, but he's timeless, dude.
Yeah, I get that. I
hasn't
mean, he
aged
looks
a day
he looks like
since
he's
30.
20.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But just The Secret Life of Tiger, second to last track. It's just your classic girl's really sheltered or whatever, and then she goes out to the real world and he's trying to teach her new things, and I'm like, why is he talking to this 20-year-old girl, but he's 45. This bothered me a
Yeah.
little more than it probably should have, but I don't know.
I see where you're coming from with that. I think
Yeah.
you kind of gotta suspend your belief a little bit, because it's music. You could
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
talking about an earlier experience or whatever. But,
Yeah, I don't know. It
I
was
don't
a-
know.
I like Kites. That was probably one of my favorites.
Kites was up there. I really like the what's the prayer one?
Lightning, Fire, Magic Prayer.
Yo, that's a good one. It's really long, but I like it.
Don't Do It, I think, is my favorite, definitely on the album.
I
I
d-
think Kendrick spits one of the better verses.
Yeah.
He has so many great verses, but I think this is a excellent verse.
Pretty much, I thought the features were gonna bring it a whole lot more, but
They're just kind of there.
they're just kind of there, and I think this thing really succeeds when you kind of just let things get weird with the production, and you don't lean too much in the negative space, and you don't just have a bass line going.
Definitely.
All in all, though, I don't think this is going to be in rotation for very long for me anyway.
I don't
Yeah,
think.
not for me.
There
think
wasn't really much to come back to. I like I said, I like Don't Do It, maybe Lemon, a couple other tracks on there, but there's not much on there.
I still think it was cool, though. I'm happy that
I'm glad they're somewhat relevant.
I'm happy that they went through it for releasing something after all this time. Because
Yeah, it's always cool when I feel like when an old group that doesn't get, brought up a lot
Right.
releases something.
their comeback had been in the works for a while, and I know it
Right.
wasn't exactly what everybody was hoping for, and probably not even what they were hoping for. But I think it's cool that they got something out there. Alrighty.
All right.
So what else have you been listening to, Andy?
Well, I have a few things. I got XXX Tentacion.
Oh,
All right, so we're
Jesus.
just
A
gonna
ghetto
we're gonna skip
Christmas
over to,
character.
we're gonna skip over
No.
to Connor's takes.
No, I'm not finished. This was like a little good
Literally
thing.
the worst.
little thing
Thank God
for,
he's going to prison.
for the kids. I don't know. I really
For those
like
12-year-old
I'm,
kids.
I'm always down for some Ronnie J beats. Like even if it's just like him like yelling and screaming over a beat.
Thank God he's going to prison.
I don't. He's definitely not a good character, and
He's terrible.
I don't even think like
He's
you keep playing the first song, okay?
no, I keep playing Up Like an Insomniac. the
Oh, is
third
that what it's
song.
called? Okay, I listened to it one time. I was like, "Yep, more X," and then I crossed it out. And like you just keep going back to it. I'm like, I don't think this is that good. And I think
I love Ronnie J. That's all I can say.
Ronnie J is an MVP, dude. But
I love Ronnie J.
I don't know.
I don't need any like special raps over my music. I can just listen to Ronnie J.
Yeah, and
That'd be
that'd be
alright with
fine.
that.
It's just that X is there, okay?
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
No, but you do
I'm
because you
still-
love when he goes "Bucho baro, huda bara," like you
No,
love.
I don't want to hear it from you.
Oh boy.
Because X is
not that good.
okay with me. I'll listen to his music if it keeps coming out.
I mean, he's not terrible, but he gets way too much
that-
hype from his
well,
annoying fan base.
I mean
Yeah,
that being said, I hated like his freaking project that
Yeah,
he put out.
that had
I
a couple
hated
good
See,
it.
songs,
I don't
but it was
understand how
just
you can
annoying.
hate that, but like this because they
because
sound.
I like Ronnie J. What like I don't
Isn't
understand.
Ronnie J on the other project?
Not like he is on this. I like him when he's got his like
This is only 4 songs, right?
it's 5.
Oh boy, yeah,
But-
5
but-
songs.
He's worked with Ronnie J plenty of times in the past.
Yeah.
So has Ski Mask, and like
No, I'm not.
I think he's a big reason
Listen,
why
I'm saying
like Ski
I
Mask
like
so
Ronnie
much
J's
now.
production. Okay, I'm just saying I think X kind of ruins some of these songs, and I don't like that stupid fucking hook that you keep playing.
I don't know. I feel like there's only one way that you can rap over these types of beats. You need to be screaming. You need to be like yelling because like it's
because you're emo.
I
'cause
try not to let
'cause
the artist.
808 is so like so distorted and so like crazy
I
sounding.
kind of
that it's-
agree. Okay, and I will say that I try to separate the artist from the music a lot of the time, but this is one case where I really can't, and I just see this annoying, stupid fucking 18-year-old who has
Hey, he's 19.
great.
So-
Even worse because of what he's done.
So I
dude.
guess this brings up a question: can bad people make good music?
Oh, 100%.
Chief Keef.
100%.
Yeah, I mean,
they can, and
so-
I usually don't have a problem with it, but this time,
Why do you have a problem with this one?
I don't
guy?
know because I think I've really
Because he worships
reading,
Satan.
Reading the expose all about what he did to that girl, and now how she's
yeah, that's
now how she's
awful.
just like, oh, it doesn't matter, like just it ruins it. I don't know what the deal is, but
I think that I think there are many tales.
I think a lot of it.
that apply to any other rapper, where
Not-
they've had where
know, though, I think-
not at this scale,
yeah.
but definitely there are these things that
Yeah,
happen.
Doc-
and
dude,
there
Dr.
are
Dre
a
kicked the shit out of
plenty-
women, okay, and
there
like
are plenty of bad people
yeah,
out there.
and Ghostface
is a
Ghostface is a
freaking
bad
scary
dude, yeah. But like, never before has somebody come out and been like, yeah, he took a fire poker and scratched my vagina with it. Like, that's fucked up, dude.
Maybe he was into like some S&M
Okay,
shit.
that's
like,
okay.
No, he tied her up, went to go play Minecraft for like 5 hours. Like, oh my god, dude. And you're defending this dude?
Yeah, you sound like
he's a good rapper.
All right,
what?
stop yelling, because we're gonna break the freaking thing. But no, I think he can still make some banging shit. And
Do you think
I
you can make him from prison?
That's some.
25 to life?
Over the
No, but
phone.
I'm sure he's got like some shit recorded.
No, but what
a
I'm
nice
what I'm
little
trying to
care
say is
package.
Free X.
I usually don't have a problem with trying to separate the persona with like the actual.
I think it's
person,
the
but
fact that his annoying fans just like will defend him no matter what.
I guess, or just that. So a lot of people are like, yeah, but like probably not.
Don't get me wrong. Like his shit, the shit that he does is bad. I'm not defending him on that front. I'm defending him on the front that, yeah, I think he could have made an impact in the game had he been around for a little longer.
I'm not saying he couldn't have made an
I
impact.
feel like he already
but,
has
yeah.
made a bit of an impact on the game.
Yeah,
I
look
think
at the guys who are coming out. Ski Mask, obviously.
his real legacy is going to be Ski, because once he goes to
Yeah.
prison, he's going to come up big time.
Ski's going to be big.
He'll be on
yeah.
XXL,
But
dude.
I think
It's-
Ski recently, I saw on Instagram, he made the mistake of like saying free X or something on his.
No, that was Ugly God.
No, that was him. I'm
Wait, what?
positive. Yeah, he said free X, and he's like, "Oh, you guys don't know the full story. Me and Ski came up together." And I thought that's a big mistake because people do not like it when you defend a sexual abuser like that, And with all the negativity around X, I think Ski needs to get away, try to distance himself from that.
Bottom
definitely.
line, Andy, bad people can make good music. Just this guy is like Satan incarnate. Like,
Yeah.
All right, whatever you say. But anyways, I'm also listening to Cypher by Babyfather. This is just a single, and it's labeled under electronic. Came out this year, but it's 19 minutes long, so it's like about the length of an EP in one song, kind of like how Death Grips does it sometimes. But this is a pretty cool little project that came out. I would suggest looking that one up. And then I'm also listening to Highly Rare by Micaiah Craven. Micaiah McCraven. This is like a little jazz piece. Basically, the beats were made by splicing up like live performances from gigs and shit like that around Chicago. Really cool little piece. So I would definitely advise checking that one out if you're into a little bit more of a down-tempo jazz sort of thing.
What's the name of that again?
Highly Rare by Micaiah McCraven. Makaya.
All right, that sounds cool.
Check it out.
You like jazz?
You like
Yeah.
jazz?
Well, we've been talking about hip hop so much on this
This particular episode.
podcast today, so I thought I'd throw in a little bit more
Curveball.
round. So, what do you got?
I'll round you out. Alrighty, so first things first. A Crow Looked at Me by Mount Erie. You know what that is, Andy?
Yes, I've heard of that before.
Okay, so you might have heard of it because it was Danny Brown's album of the year, and that is why I checked it out, because I'm like, oh well, might be into that. And the guy who wrote it's from the Microphones. His current group, which is really just a solo effort like Bon Iver, is Mount Erie, and his real magnum opus was from The Glow Part 2 that came out in the early 2000s. That's like one of the internet's favorite albums. Like, not the group, like, you just always see it shilled for everywhere. And it's a very good album, but I think that almost diminishes the legacy a little bit. Kind of like how whenever somebody brings up how Radiohead's the best band, you kind of groan a little bit. But, yeah, this thing is pretty cool. A lot of people have hesitated to call it music because a lot of it comes across as like spoken word over just some very sparse instrumentals, but it's a very frank look at death. And the whole thing is kind of written about his wife who passed away from pancreatic cancer. She was also a musician and is present on some of the group's earlier work. But it's pretty cool, and like he kind of like weaves back and forth on his feelings of even putting out this project on the project. Like he mentions that death isn't necessarily something that you should be singing songs about. It's kind of a personal thing, but there's no real way for him to deal with his feelings outside of trying to write about it. So this is kind of the result of that. I don't have a lot of things I could put into words about this thing, but this is the sort of album you want to listen to maybe one time and then kind of put behind you. But it's an experience, and I think it's worthwhile to save it until you're kind of in a mood where you can really feel it. But yeah, very cool stuff. In addition to that, there was a Charlie XCX single from a little while back called Boys. This is one of the better singles this year. got into that. Princess Nokia, rapper, had what I believe is her debut album, not her debut project, and it's pretty cool stuff. I think the closest thing I can compare it to is Layla's Wisdom, Grammy nominated. And if you're just kind of into like straight raps over a bit sparser beats, that's a pretty cool project too. I'm just kind of trying to rip through this because I got a bit. I got around to Taylor Swift's Reputation, and I liked it. I didn't think I was gonna like it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I didn't like. I still don't like Look What You Made Me Do. I think it's.
Look what you. Is it because he goes after Kanye?
No. I really wanted more of that, to be honest.
Really?
Just,
Why?
You want a little cat
because
fight?
I like stupid rap beef.
That beef is like 2 years old, a year old.
It's like a decade old if we're talking back to the VMAs.
Well, yeah.
Damn, just think 2009. That's
No, but
8 years ago.
I-
Almost 9.
I like
Crazy.
tabloidy drama, and I kind of thought that she was gonna like sell herself into it, but it's only on it's really only on that song and then kind of on one other song. But like, she took like the stupidest route with it. Like, why wouldn't she talk about like what he actually did to her instead of like talking about tilted stages and whatever? But not important. It's got. I think the things that this project has going for it, the production's actually pretty cool at the end of the day.
It's got
and
Future on it.
that song works a lot better than I thought it was going to. The only song with features has Ed Sheeran and Future on it, and it's actually pretty dope. And I think it lends Future some more legs to the career he's kind of chasing at the moment, becoming a pop star that we saw in Hendrix earlier this year.
Lean sipping pop star.
Hey man, that's where the game's headed.
That's true.
But yeah, this album has the production going for it. They've got the head, the lead guy from the Bleachers, or just Bleachers, straight up, writing for almost every song, which I think is a good thing. I think he can write pop songs a lot better than Taylor Swift. And if you miss the old Taylor Swift, who is apparently dead,
I miss the old Taylor.
New Year's Day, the last song on the album, is actually pretty sweet and definitely scratches that itch. The last couple of things I got. There was a Foster the People song, the remix called Pay the Man, who had Jeed and Saba on it as a remix. That was pretty cool. And I haven't gotten around to it yet. I saw that Rich Homie Quan dropped a track to try and put his name back out there, but it kind of got overshadowed by the other releases this week.
It's kind of too bad that his career's just kind of fallen off a bit.
Other than that, Jeezy had an album that came out this week that was pretty sweet.
You like that?
Did you listen to it?
I do not like Jeezy. I think he's
Not
he's-
G-Eazy.
No,
Oh,
Jeezy.
Jeezy. Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah, that's
God.
all. That's
Okay.
confusing because G-Eazy also had an album come out this week.
Yeah,
I
that's
did not
true.
listen to it because I
That's
don't
actual
Who the
trash.
fuck cares?
Yeah,
You're not
no.
16 years old.
Jeezy's album came out. I'm not a huge Jeezy fan either, but it was pretty sufficient. If you're just kind of looking for, I guess, like a mix between current trends and the late 2000s song in your hip hop.
How was the J. Cole Kendrick song?
Oh,
That got a lot of hype on there.
don't let that be the only reason you come to this project, but it's cool.
Okay.
Other than that, the only thing that I've really been listening to is just Brockhampton on loop and their Drafts, which is the demo tape that came out with the box set. Do yourself a favor, rip that. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. There's basically 8 complete songs that nobody's heard, and then a ton of just demos that are kind of neat. And they didn't name them, so have fun naming them. I named them, and I sent a copy of it to Andy, and there's a track named Andy on there. So, yeah, check it out.
Wait, that you named it? Oh my, that's stupid. I thought
I got you, didn't I?
I didn't. I haven't even looked at it. I
Oh
don't think
man, oh that sucks.
I'm not sure if I actually got it.
Yeah, you did. It's in Google Drive. It was a Google Drive.
Oh,
link.
it's Google Drive. Okay.
About 11 of them are named because people were just able to figure it out based off stuff they've said. The rest of them are unnamed, and I kind of filled in the gaps by stuff people were saying online / like whatever the most prominent word in the song was. So, I don't know. There's some cool stuff in there worth checking out. Alrighty, and Connor, what have you been up to?
Yeah, so I think something I've been really enjoying is the new Juicy J album, Rubber Band Business.
There you go.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We
Juicy
were
J
talking
is-
about that a little
Yeah,
last
we
time.
we
Yep.
talked about it.
Juicy J is a guy who's been around a really long time, 90s. That's when he really made a name for himself. I kind of remember 8th grade, freshman year, he had a couple hot singles, Bands That Make Her Dance, Bounce It, just some good memories. So I was excited to hear this come out, and I enjoy it. He's got some bangers. He needs to get more appreciation, I feel like.
We really liked his direction with the Suicide Boys tape. That's coming
Yeah,
up.
Yeah, I need to check that out.
it's on DatPiff. The
Okay.
Highly Intoxicated.
Yeah, I heard that was decent.
Yeah, really good.
I need to listen to that sometime.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like on this album. Really enjoyed No English, which apparently has been out for like 2
Yeah,
years.
that's been out
that's
for a
that's
while.
old news, but it's
Yeah.
still good.
It's a good song.
Still good.
Feed the Streets. That was probably might have been my favorite actually. Ain't Nothing. Yeah, the whole album's pretty solid. Would recommend. And I've been listening to a lot of Take Care. I know it's been out for 6 years, but just something I've been coming out back to lately. I think I do
come.
yeah, it has been. It's yeah,
Time flies.
Yeah.
Try to catch it.
But anyway, yeah, I think it's a masterpiece in my opinion. Drake's best album, for sure for me.
Don't you mean The Weeknd's best album?
He's in like 2
That's a
songs.
joke.
Yeah, one of them he's not even credited.
He's in 4 songs.
Really?
Yeah.
He's in Crew Love and Cameras.
Oh, he's on more than that, dude. He's the beat for The Ride. Hey, hey.
Oh, I didn't realize
the
that.
ride. Yeah.
Still though, I mean, there's like 20 tracks on there.
Yeah. No, dude, it's
That's
definitely
my favorite Drake
Yeah, no,
album.
I think it. If it's not my favorite, it's my second favorite.
Yeah. And just some things to look out for in the next coming weeks. We got that Chance and Jeremiah tape, which I guess is basically just a reissue of the same thing we got last year. But at least it'll be on Spotify and Apple Music.
Do you think they're gonna change "Shoulda Left You" in 2016 to 2017? I shoulda left you in 2017, or because that'd be kind of stupid if it was.
Yeah. I'm also. I don't know if I don't know when this is happening, but the Quavo and Travis Scott tape. That's
Huncho Jack, Huncho.
That's been rumored for like 2 years now, but apparently it's mixing right now, so we're supposed to be getting it in a few weeks.
Christmas Day.
Oh, Dedication 6. That reminds me. That's coming out. Wish we were getting the Carter 5, but this will have to do. And one last thing, the Ski Mask tape that's supposedly coming out too.
Book of Eli.
He's got some interesting features on there. I think he has like
gonna be
Rich
my
the Kid.
shit.
Yeah. Hopefully it's
Is
good.
Timbaland featured on there, or is he just
No, he's
producing?
producing.
Yeah.
Produces like 5 or 6 tracks on there.
Yo.
So I'm hoping that's good. Hoping to see what he can do with that. Maybe get a few songs on the charts.
That reminds me, there's a Rich the Kid Ski Mask.
It's on
song.
SoundCloud. I need to
We
listen
might,
to that. Yeah.
We also might get ASAP Rocky before the end of the year.
That might be.
We
next
also
year.
might get.
I'm excited for that.
No,
though.
dude, it might be a surprise drop. You gotta hold out for it, and we might get.
If I were him, I would just wait till 2018. Let 2018 be your
Nah,
year.
man. And then
There's so many artists that have won 2017.
He's been pretty quiet since Cozy Tapes 2 dropped.
everybody might
gonna
win
be-
on December 31st. If you catch my drift.
Kanye and Cudi tape. Are
There
you
we
talking
go,
about
dude.
that?
Yeah, everybody wins.
Again, I think that's gonna be one of those things that never ends up happening.
The only reason I think it might happen is because there's been a distinct lack of hype from either of them. Like if either of them were talking about it, I would kind of think it wouldn't happen because every time they open their fucking mouths, nothing seems to happen. But I don't know, man. They've both been kind of keeping a low profile, and they've been showing up places together. I could see it happening this time.
I would think that Kanye would come out with his comeback album before he come out with a
I don't
victory
know.
lap
I
album.
don't know.
At least that's kind of what he did with Dark Twisted Fantasy, and then he started doing his.
Yeah.
He had his Jay-Z. He had his Cruel Summer, which by the way, really sad that we never got Cruel Winter because I really enjoyed Champions.
I'm not sad.
Really?
No, dude, because I think we would get the best 3 songs up front again, and then the rest would just be fodder.
But Cruel Winter gets too much hate. There's a lot of bangers on there.
I don't know. I don't know how excited I can be for Kid Cudi anymore.
Yeah.
Since
On
Speeding Bullet, and then immediately
But you know what?
after
There was
the Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying or whatever like that was
That's not that-
subpar.
I'm saying it's not bad. No, but
Yeah.
But the
that's
thing is-
that's not what I'm excited for. I'm excited for just like there's never been a bad collab between those two.
right. I think Cudi was at its best when he had Kanye, a lot more Kanye oversight.
No, and like just look at
So-
their track record together. Welcome to Heartbreak, Gorgeous, All the Lights,
What about Make Her Say?
Guilt Trip, Make Her Say. That's probably the weakest one.
Yeah. It's kind of a stupid song, but
Yeah.
it still bangs sometimes.
Erase Me, Father Stretch My Hands, Waves, and then he had writing credits on every song on 808s. Like, dude,
Waves
it's
don't die.
a good combo. Okay, like if it came out, I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, I think you'd see some cool Chance stuff on there because I know that he's been.
Chance has been quiet too.
In the know
Apparently, he's
with them.
making. He said. See, this is. He said he was gonna make a lot of music in 2016, and he didn't do that.
You mean 20? Oh,
Or 2017. My bad.
maybe he has been. You just don't know about it.
Yeah, but he hasn't dropped anything.
He said make, not release.
I'll let you guys know.
No, he said. He specifically said release.
All right, actually, that's a good transition. So this is probably the last episode for a good while. We're going on break. We're not everybody's certain where they're going to be next year. So if the gang is split up, I don't know when this show will be coming out or if it'll be in this current form. I just wanted to thank everybody for tuning in week to week. And I just wanted to let you know some stuff that we got coming up from Porch Scurvy Records. We got possibly another EP coming out from Rotvong's End.
Couple new singles
by the
up.
end of the year, or by
I'm thinking end of the year, maybe middle of January. I haven't really gotten a chance to sit down and crank out some good ones because of finals and shit like that. But I have like a cache of like 70 unfinished beats that I can just sit down and
alrighty.
put some thought into.
Additionally, we're looking to be putting on a music festival this spring. This is going to be the start of that rollout, I guess. Calling it
Early release.
the Sour Corn, or the Urbana Sour Corn Festival.
Damn.
Looking for an April or late March date for that. That should be pretty hot. We've already been talking to a couple of acts.
They're trying to find the new Brockhampton.
We are not trying to find the new Brockhampton. There's these group of guys who we've been talking to, this hip-hop group who should be coming out. It should be pretty neat. Additionally, we'll have our own house group under Porch Scurvy, the Onesies, who will be getting a little bit of a...
I don't think I ever signed them to.
Yeah, well, it's a 3-person collective, so you can shut the fuck up. 2 votes against 1.
They're staying independent.
I don't know. I feel like I feel like me and Deanie both hold 50%, and you're just an artist.
I want my money back then for all the stuff. I paid for some of this shit too.
Is this going to be a cash?
Alright, I'll
is this
give
going to
you
be a Cash
$30.
Money Birdman Lil Wayne feud going where like they're holding my
Alright,
music
well,
hostage?
Deanie's vote would be that they're under it. So where does that leave you?
I don't know. I'd have to decide.
It's 50-50.
Yeah, that means.
And I should get some kind of a vote if I'm not going to get 50%.
Well, I have the. I have where's the video of the performance? Why isn't it up on Porch Scurvy?
that's why I want the YouTube account.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there
now
you go,
I see.
pal. Yeah. Anyway, they'll have a higher billing this time around. So that plus original songs. So it's a real deal. I was going to say, if you're not going to sign them, so to speak, that's what Deanie and I are working on. So I mean, I don't know what you want.
Write up a contract. I'll let you know.
You're not going to give anybody any money anyways. So what's the?
It's the notoriety for being on the label. All right, we gotta finish this up.
All right,
We
but
gotta
yeah,
finish this up.
last but not least, some solo material, hopefully from not solo material, hopefully some concrete material from the Onesies by the end of the year, which is the only other group putting out real music at this point, because it looks like Dead Center's focused most of his attention towards that. But yeah, it's been a good year. Probably didn't put out as much as we promised. I never released any raps as One Speed, but hey, it's hard to do that when your producer doesn't want to work with you. It's been good. I guess 2 fingers in the air, everybody.
Let's say goodbye to Connor. Thank Connor for being on the podcast today.
We hope to have you back.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, guys. Hopefully, maybe next year if the show's back, I'd be happy to come back on.
For sure. We'll get him on. All right,
Alrighty.
so this has been a Clef Notes production. Thanks everyone for listening, and we hope to see you guys in the future. Maybe get some different perspectives on this cast. So, all right.